YouTube, and today I welcome you to a video on Bumble. Also Addicts. Bumble is bouncy. So what is Bumble? Well, it's a 1952 Minerva Land Rover. So here it is, a 1952 Land Rover Minerva. This was made for the Belgium government, or Belgian military I should say, in the early 50s. This is a 1952 example. They have the 2 litre 52 horsepower 4-cylinder engine, petrol engine, out of the Rover P3 saloon car I think. 80-inch wheelbase, 52 horsepower, 101 pound-feet of torque. It's very useful, you don't have to change gear very often, strangely enough. It's about a 1200 kilogram curb weight. The big difference between this and a usual Series 1 Land Rover is that Land Rovers, as most people know, after the war there was a shortage of steel. Steel was still rationed, so they were made out of an aluminium and magnesium alloy called Burma-Bright. Now, for the Belgian military, Land Rover supplied knockdown kits, which was basically the running gear and the chassis. Minerva had to build their own bodies, and they built them out of steel. As you can see, they rust. The other interesting thing is this unique profile to the wing. That was done because Minerva had no way of building the curved wings that usual Land Rovers had, hence the unique look. But underneath, it's pure Series 1 80-inch Land Rover. Now, Minerva went out of business in 1958. I don't know the exact figures, but there was about 8,800 or so of these built. 365 were built for the civilian market. The other 8,500 were for the Belgian military. But let's show you around. So, as I've said, you've got a steel body, the unique shaped wings. You've obviously got your towing points there, although don't know if I'd want to use that one. All your steering is exposed there, your hole there for your PTO takeoff if you want to put a winch or something on the front. The badge is obviously unique, Minerva, under licence from Land Rover. Your headlights are inboard, the same as your series, and this has your sort of, I don't know if that's a convoy light, but a light that shines down there, that would obviously light up probably the Belgian registration number or military registration number. This has got various sort of military style crests, not sure what they're for, but we have various aerials on here again. That looks like a DV27 CB aerial, that looks sort of like a mobile phone aerial, and being steel you can put a magnetic aerial on here, but there's nothing in there for them. No, tell a lie, there is a radio in there hidden in the centre console, completely pointless because you can't hear it, but it's there. So let's show you around the back. So around the back, as you can see, we've got the tilt, so this, you can take this off, take the door tops off, same as a normal Land Rover, fold the screen down, brilliant in the summer. Obviously you'd open this up, you've got space in the back there, various panels for hiding things, and your NATO style. tow bar. Your lights are recessed in. I'm not sure if that would have been like that as standard. These look more like later trailer type lights. But, you know, these are about as basic as you can get. So looking inside, there's no locks or anything. You just literally reach in, lift the handle up, and that's pretty much you've got. Just got a seat sat on top of that. Steering wheel, interestingly, the boss in the middle here, that doesn't turn. The steering wheel turns around it, and there's your horn. And on this side, as you can see, oops, underneath, there is your fuel tank. Let's move that over there. So to fill it up with fuel, you lift that up, unclip there, and there is where you fill it up, like so. I can tell you from experience in my old series Land Rover, that gets you some funny looks when you go to the petrol station. I have had a pump closed shut down on me before now. On my old series 3 there was one under each seat. And unusually you've also got a heater. For the controls, well, again, it's all pretty basic stuff. You have your usual clutch, brake pedals. I'm not sure what some of these do. There's your indicators, left and right. That's for your heater. I'm not sure what that's for or all that. Your choke is down here. There are your lights. To start it, you literally turn the key, make sure it's out of gear, and press your start button. Like all Land Rovers of this period, your 4-speed box, in your low range and 4-wheel drive controls. These are 2-wheel drive usually, until you put them in 4-wheel drive, which I should have looked this up. If memory serves me, you push that down to put it in 4-wheel drive and pull that forward to put it in low range, I think. We have your amps, your petrol gauge and a speedo, which rather optimistically goes up to 120 kilometers an hour. This will do 62 miles an hour top speed, with a 0 to 60 time of 65.9 seconds, and should do about 26 mpg. So let's have a look at this old engine, shall we? Now, to get into it, clip on this side, clip on this side, and that's it. Lift it up. It's really heavy because you've got the spare wheel up there, and you have thing there. And inside there we have a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. I believe it's a Solex carburettor. That looks like it might have been changed to a Weber, I'm not sure. We have an oil bath air filter and a very basic little engine, but so reliable and so sweet. It's just a shame about the exhaust manifold leak, but let's get it out on the road, shall we? So what's it like to drive? Well, bouncy, very bouncy. So let's get off this lane and see what it's like on the road. Exactly where these things were not designed to go. have no seat belts. Certainly no synchro on first and second. I'm not sure about third yet. No real suspension. Get motoring. and that BMW behind me. But that's the thing with an old Land Rover. You potter along slowly and you don't worry about who you're upsetting. People just accept that these old things aren't fast. You always have the idiot white van man that will, you know, attempt to crash just to get past you, but most people, they just accept what these things are like. Actually cruising through this village at 30-ish, it's not bad. But you do have to just remember that it does wander a little bit, although I said not as much as I was expecting. But you just learn to balance the wheel at either end of its play. For a while my Corvette, the rag joint on it was gone, so I am sort of used to this. And my Series 3 Land Rover is very much the same as well. Once you get used to it, and effectively don't fight it, you just let it go more or less where it was. Let it find its own path. And when you do that, it's actually not a bad drive, it's quite relaxing. As I said, it is noisy, and as you can probably tell, my throat is getting a bit sore from trying to talk over the top of the noise. But, you know, apart from that, it's alright. Minerva, Belgian military knockdown kit. And being such a Land Rover fan, in fact, I don't think there's been time in my life from the moment I've been born there hasn't been a Land Rover in my life. So such a Land Rover fan, it's probably not surprising, like a lot of the cars I borrow. I'm really sad to be giving this back. I need another old Land Rover. I love my Discovery, but there's just something wonderful